Thank you everybody for coming out today. On the heels of another fantastic Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, we're really pleased today to get together with so many of our stakeholders. Many of these gentlemen behind me, in fact all of these gentlemen behind me, are part of a nonprofit group, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, AIBF as we call it for short. We had another great event this year in the city of Albuquerque. Another year where Albuquerque made all the right lists for all the right reasons, where our city became a world stage, if you will, for hundreds of thousands of visitors that came to our city, who stayed in our hotel rooms, who ate at our restaurants, who patronized our vendors, who shopped at our shops, and who bring a great deal of economic development to the city of Albuquerque. So it's with great pleasure today that I announce that the city of Albuquerque and the AIBF have reached a tentative agreement that will now be sent down to the City Council for their approval to take the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta out the next 15 years to the year 2027. And I think we've put a platform together that will do exactly what we wanted it to do from the very beginning, and that is allow this event to succeed. This is a great example of a public-private partnership. A lot of people don't realize that the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is not put on by the city of Albuquerque. As taxpayers, we own this great venue. We own this great park. We own the museum that we're standing in today. And that's wonderful. And it's wonderful that we as a city have invested in this park to the tune, I believe, of a little over $40 million over the last number of decades. But the actual International Balloon Fiesta is put on by the AIBF, these gentlemen behind me included. And they are a nonprofit group. So this is just, as I said earlier, a great example of what it looks like when the public and private sectors can come together and really do something meaningful. I got a chance to meet Sid Cutter before he passed, and it was really an honor for me. And it's really, I think, a neat thing in our city that we still have the icons of ballooning with us, many of them. We've had some wonderful people that we've lost over the last couple of years, but we still have many of these individuals are with us that are ground floor folks for this event. So this license agreement is what it actually is. It's an agreement that the city of Albuquerque has come up with AIBF for them to be able to use this great facility to put on their world-class event. And what we're going to do today, we'll certainly have some questions and answers. I'll give you a few specifics and a few things that are different with this contract than the last one. And then I'm going to let Scott Cummings come up from the AIBF, give a few comments, and then we'll be happy to answer a few questions. So the contract that we currently have expires this year, and it's imperative, I think, that we have a contract moving forward so that we have things solidified and there's some stability in the out years. This particular event, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, has had an estimated direct economic impact on our city of $90 million in 2011. And if you take that and you extrapolate that out over the 15 years of this agreement will generate in excess of $1.3 billion in direct economic impact for the city of Albuquerque, to our vendors, to our hoteliers, to our business people, large and small. The Balloon Fiesta generates nearly $9 million a year in local and state tax revenues. If you extrapolate that over 15 years, that's well over $100 million. The event also serves as a platform to feature local food and merchandise concessions and to an international audience while introducing national and international guests to Albuquerque. The tentative licensing agreement that will be going to the City Council identifies the following features and improvements over the last contract. This will be a 15-year license versus the old 10-year agreement. And that's important because it adds stability to the equation for these gentlemen that put this event on every year, for us as a city, and for people that want to invest in the Balloon Fiesta. It has a reduction in the time that AIBF has exclusive use of Balloon Fiesta Park. And that's important because we use this park every year for lots of things other than the Balloon Fiesta. And that extra month that we've been able to negotiate for the city and our citizens to use the park outside of the Fiesta just means more youth sports, more soccer tournaments, more great things that we can do. Also gives us an opportunity to bring additional revenues into the city with other events. This agreement provides new opportunities for participation by local vendors when those opportunities are available. The agreement has an improved public safety aspect by operating the event under the National Incident Management System and the National Fire Protection Association standards. We have lots and lots of great people that come out here. Al's with us today that do a wonderful job of keeping people safe at this event. But through working with the city of Albuquerque, through Chief Breen, our fire chief, we've been able to bring this event where we have a NIMS plan, they call it, which is the acronym for that long wording I just gave you. So now we have additional public safety planning in place, and that's important. We have increased transparency and accountability for the event through the additional reporting requirements included where AIBF will now give us copies of all of their audits as a regular course of business. They've always been good working with my administration. In fact, let me tell you a little story. When we were negotiating this contract, we had a meeting, and they were very forthcoming with financial information. And there have been people over the years that wanted to see more transparency and accountability. I believe we have it today, and it's also written into this contract. This particular contract increases the annual rental payment, the licensing agreement, from $50,000 to $100,000 that the AIBF will contribute to the city. That can be done under a number of different ways. It can be cash payments. However, these gentlemen and their group have put so much into this park over the years that there are still several $1 million worth of improvements that we will allow them to work with us on those license payments. We have increased opportunities for collaboration. There's a new clause in the contract that will really incentivize the city to continue to invest in this park. If we put up, you look out here and you see some of the tents, for example. If the city is able to invest in a facility where AIBF no longer has to rent a tent for that particular use, then those rental payments can be negotiated to come back to the city. So we're keeping those dollars right here at home and incentivizing all of us to invest in this great park. And the park certainly needs additional improvements over the years. We want to make sure it stays viable, and we will continue to do that. It has a mechanism in place where AIBF can rent permanent structures in the future as well. So overall, the concept is the same. We want to make sure that the Balloon Fiesta is here. We want to make sure that it's sustainable, that it thrives, that it succeeds, that it succeeds right here in the city of Albuquerque. And so the overall concept certainly hasn't changed at all. I think we've done some great cleanup in this contract. We've done some great things to incentivize the right kinds of things, from transparency and accountability to using local vendors to making sure that the city makes improvements to the park as well. So I couldn't be more proud as a mayor to stand with you today and these gentlemen to tell you that the next 15 years look very bright for the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We've worked hard over the last months, in fact a little bit over a year, to get to this agreement, and we would urge the city council to give all consideration to approving this contract so that we can keep this great event moving forward. With that, I'm going to bring up Mr. Scott Cummings, who is on the board of directors for AIBF, and he'll give you a few comments as well. Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone. You know, as we're here today, what a privilege to be here announcing this tentative 15-year agreement, and not only what it means to us as the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, but what it means to the city of Albuquerque. And you know, when we look at this tentative licensing agreement, we see it as the foundation for securing the future of Balloon Fiesta for the next 15 years. So when we think about it, you know, I want to first step back. I was part of the team that's been meeting with Mayor and his team negotiating this as part of the Balloon Fiesta. And I really want to stop and thank them. The mayor, his administration, and his team have worked diligently for months on this agreement. And one of the things that we have really appreciated is that they have been proactive. They've been business oriented. They have understood the economic impact of this event on the city of Albuquerque, and they have worked diligently to help us arrive at this tentative agreement that we have today. You know, the other thing that I was thinking about today is this tentative agreement's about the future. It's about providing us the ability to look past the 50th anniversary of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. When I started thinking about that, I think this is a moment that would not have been possible unless we look back and see what others have done to get us to this point. The mayor mentioned earlier Sid Cutter, one of our founders, what a vision he had to bring the Balloon Fiesta to the city. You know, we've seen other great leaders. We've seen the city take proactive measures. Visionary mayors like Harry Kinney have done a great job. We've seen city councils take decisive action to ensure the success of Balloon Fiesta. That has been very important to us. And so as a result, over the last 41 years, we've seen a great framework and foundation that was set forth to create, as the mayor just mentioned, a very successful private and public partnership. And for that, we're very appreciative, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.
And your team. You know, Tom Rutherford once said, he said, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is an incredible gift to the city of Albuquerque. And I think he was right. It has been a wonderful experience. And when I think about it, I think, what about for us, the pilot, the crews, and the volunteers over the last 41 years? We believe it has been and continues to be a ministry of joy. It's a way for us to share our passion for ballooning with spectators from all across America and around the world. You know, we believe that that's what makes Balloon Fiesta special. It's not about an organization. It's about the countless people that contribute their time, energy, and efforts and resources out here as volunteers that make this a great event. And we really want to take the time and acknowledge them. You know, it's also people that come out here that help us, the Kiwanis and the Civitans who work to park cars to earn money for their service organizations. It's schools and other organizations that are selling programs and calendars out here that have made a significant impact by using the money they earn out here to fund their service organizations, and I want to thank them as well. You know, if we think about this new agreement creates a great framework, as the mayor just said, for us. You know, number one, it provides us assurance that New Mexico's premier tourist event has a home for the next 15 years. We are very happy about the incentive that the city is going to have to improve this park with new improvements, and so that we can use expenses that we have for rental fees to offset costs to the city and making additional payments to them to cover costs for them building permanent structures out here. It allows us and the new agreement to have a recognition of our capital improvements that we've made over the years. That's almost $2 million we've invested out here in this great park. And so it allows us an incentive also to continue making those improvements. So we feel, on behalf of the Albuquerque National Balloon Fiesta and our board of directors that are represented today, that it's been a very mutually beneficial agreement, and we look forward to a long and successful partnership. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you, guys. There's a couple of folks that I want to particularly thank, who I've spent more than a few hours locked in a room together with, stale sandwiches and lukewarm coffee, getting this thing put together. Certainly Paul Smith, who's in the audience today. Paul, you've done a wonderful job. We appreciate all of your work on this. Jim Shiver is here. Mark Sullivan. I know Gary Bennett is here with us today. Scott Cummings as well. Bill Walker and Jay Czar. These are individuals who've really kind of taken the mantle, if you will, from AIBF side. I want to thank Sandy Zuslag, who's here with us today, Barbara Baca. We've got Betty Rivera here from our Cultural Services Department. So this really has been a team effort, and the thing that's encouraging to me, and I'll just end on this before we open it up for questions, is it was just really nice, and as a business guy who understands that for a business arrangement to be successful, everybody has to win. And we could all get super shrewd, and we could all start looking to pick holes in things. And I can tell you, we had some robust discussions about what it looked like to have a win-win situation, no question about it. But we really ended up with an agreement that I believe will allow this event to prosper and succeed. And when it succeeds, Albuquerque succeeds. Our local businesses succeed. Our small businesses succeed. And we bring revenue into the city, and we just bring joy to people's faces. I mean, if you know, the greatest thing about the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta for me is you just get to go down to the field and you see grandpas and grandmas with their grandkids and moms and dads, and you see smiling faces, and you see the wonderment in the kids' eyes about seeing something like this for the first time, and then you see people who've just never gotten over being a kid. With their love for ballooning. And so, gentlemen, thank you for your passion. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your years and years and years of dedicated service. I know you've come up with a lot of money out of your own pockets to make this a reality for the city of Albuquerque. So I just want everybody to give these gentlemen and their group a round of applause. With that, let's open it up for questions.
What's all the obstacles that this could come across once it's presented to the city council?
Well, gosh, I think the council will look on this favorably. They should. It's a win-win situation. We have a pro-business city council, and we have a council, I believe, meeting with a number of the councilors, not on this specific agreement, but just in general terms. I think everybody realizes that this is a very successful event, and I hope that they see favorably on these terms and conditions, because I think they're well thought out and they're well crafted.